When you're around Gretchen, you feed off her energy. She's compassionate. When you meet her, you knew that she's someone that is loving and caring.
I feel I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky from what happened that day in 1984. I have been given many, many opportunities. I'm not sure I would be the person I am today had I not gone through what I did. I was born in a small town called Carbondale, Illinois. I had a chance to go to Furman University, which is in Greenville, South Carolina. I went there for a year and a half, and then ultimately I moved to Gainesville because I had a high school friend who was here, but also because I had established my in-state residency. And I was studying urban studies at the University of Florida and really had a really good experience because I really felt like I wanted to try to make cities and communities safer places for all people to be able to live in. That changed, and like so many things, you can think you're going off in one course and then something happens and you find a different route for your life. And that for me happened on July of 1984. It was no different than any other night. I cracked my window and I turned on the music and I drifted off to sleep, just like I had every other night. But that night it was different. I was asleep in my apartment, and my roommate, the person I shared the house with, was on vacation for a couple of weeks. And I came home and was awakened when someone I realized had broken into the apartment. And before I could even see this person, my eyes were covered. I was blindfolded and gagged and tied up and raped. And the individual had a knife, and although I was not in any way seriously cut, he nicked my finger to show me, I have a knife and I'll use it if you scream or try to run away. When it was all said, and when I mean done, when he had left, I drove over to my boyfriend at the time, his house, and I'm sure I was pretty upset and hysterical and just said, my house has been broken into. He asked me what had happened, and I simply said, someone broke into my house. And he said, are you okay? And I thought about it, and I realized I am okay. I didn't die. I'm okay. But I didn't tell him I'd been raped. I didn't tell him that, I didn't even suggest in any way that he had touched me, just that someone had broken into my apartment. The next morning, I didn't really sleep at all. I mean, I felt really just completely shaky, and I kept thinking, did this really happen? I mean, did this really just happen to me? So the next morning, I went back to the apartment, spoke to the manager, and explained, I have to move out. And I was crying and shaking, and she said, why? And I just couldn't even figure out what words to say. And she asked me, were you raped? And I started crying, and I'm guessing I looked pretty kind of out of control. And she said, I'm gonna call the Rape Crisis Program. You know, I remember just feeling very, very scared because an arrest was not made right away. It took several weeks, and when he was finally arrested, he was charged not only with breaking and entering burglary into my apartment and rape, but 3 other counts, 2 other women and another man. So he also was someone who had just been released from prison 10 months before he committed these crimes. So it was many, many years, exactly 23 years later, that I made the decision that I felt like I was at a point in my life where I wanted to speak to him. I wanted to sit across the table from him, look him in the eye, and ask him some questions. And I set out to do that. It did not work out the way I had hoped, in that he declined. So as a result of that, I was just frustrated and angry and hurt, and once again felt like, why does he get to make the decisions? Why does he get all of the control? So a few days later, after hearing that he would not ever meet with me, I sat down and I wrote a screenplay, and I got to be in charge of what would have happened, what I would have wanted to happen had we been able to have met and talked. And then I put the pen down when I was finished, and I felt good. I felt like I got to have the meeting after all. To my surprise, within a month, I was showing this screenplay to someone at the University of Florida, and he made the decision that he wanted to take the screenplay and create a film out of it, and that's what he did.
I bet you wish I was raped in here, don't you? In prison. For what I did to you.
No, I don't wish that for you.
Here's the thing about what happens after rape. You go through a tsunami of emotions, you know, fear, terror, embarrassment, bewilderment, confusion. And there's a number of things that you lose temporarily. And for some people, maybe they lose them for a lifetime, but you lose the sense that the world is basically a good place, that you can take your safety for granted. But one of the really big ones is the sense of control. And it starts with the moment when you realize you're not in control of being able to stop this person from what they're going to do to your body, to your spirit, to your mind, to your soul. And then it's over. The event is over. This horrible thing ends, and it's really hard to figure out what to do next. I think that when people who have been sexually assaulted, either as children, as teenagers, as adults, whether it's by a stranger or by an acquaintance, many times people are looking to them to tell others, this is what I need from you. And let me start off by saying everybody is unique. There's no one universal response to rape or to any form of suffering. But I think what many survivors want is they want their lives to get back to normal. So as a result of that happening to me in my life, I made a very, very significant turn in terms of what I decided to do with my life. And as a result, I became a victim's advocate. I had never even heard of that term. I had never heard of that profession, but I certainly became aware of it after I myself had the chance to experience the help, the support, the guidance, and the connections that I received by going and getting help from advocates at the Alachua County Rape Crisis Program. What's happened recently, though, is about a year ago, almost a year and a month ago, I attended this amazing conference for all sorts of people who are in the field of rape victim advocacy. And for me, in attending that workshop, I realized we have not effectively addressed shame. Only about 20% of all victims of sexual battery actually utilize and receive counseling, supportive, or advocacy services. And that's about 1 in 4. So what I wanted to do was create an online community where you could receive messages of support and actually experience, this is what compassion feels like. This is what it feels like when someone believes you. This is what support and kindness and humanity look like, and this is what these words sound like. And if you like this, when you come to this virtual community on this website called unshame.org, then maybe it will be enough to teach you to take the risk to walk into a rape crisis program or to call a program and say, I was raped, or when I was 15, something happened to me and I felt an enormous amount of shame, but I realized I deserve and I want to get some help. So with me are a bunch of victim advocates, and these advocates all happen to work at the state attorney's office, but today they're giving up their lunch hour to create messages for the Unshame campaign. And what we're creating today are these messages that we think may be able to reach someone who doesn't believe that anyone else can understand what they've gone through.
I think Unshame is an incredible platform for victims of crime for all over the world in the privacy of your own home. For those that may not have the courage quite yet to go out somewhere, they can access all the resources and support right there online.
Well, I would love to travel some more. I'm someone that loves to make fused glass, and that's something I do every single week. So for me, it's also recognizing the importance of keeping my own life really in balance. Sort of as a symbol that our hearts, like glass, are sometimes feel like they're broken, but they can be melded back together, just like you really can in when you're making fused glass. I want to be able to create a lot of art. I want to be able to create. My hope is that a year from today, I will be able to tell you that I've completed my first TED Talk, because I'd really like to take Unshamed to a TED Talk, and see where that takes me, and takes the Unshamed effort, website, and movement. I've enjoyed getting to know you all. It's been a little uncomfortable at times, having the camera in my face, but I want to say thank you, and I just need to let you know that I have to get back to work now. So take care. Thank you. I gotta go though. Bye. Let me know how it all turns out. See ya.